It's so nice to finally see the sun shining again. And if you're lucky, where you live, the snow is receding, even if just slightly. Spring is on the way, and if you know any gardeners, quite likely you'll have noticed them starting a few crops early indoors. As a beginner or even a first-time grower, maybe you've thought to yourself, hey, I'd like to try that. And why not? It could be a really good confidence boost, and at the very least, it'll help you get your feet wet and your hands dirty before the gardening season really gets going. Hi, I'm Jeff from the Ripe Tomato Farms. Welcome back to another episode of the Garden Quickie, the show where in 2 minutes or less, we don't like getting our feet wet, but getting our hands dirty is guaranteed. And today's episode is all about starting seeds early. More specifically, which ones do we dabble with first? Now, I've got dozens of seed starting videos that I've already done, and I'll link to them in the description below. But for today, let's go ahead and get those feet wet and look at the 5 easiest crops to start early indoors. Hey, time's short as it always is, so let's dive in. For various reasons, not all crops should be started early indoors. Peas are normally one of those crops. These guys like the cool temperatures of spring, sometimes don't transplant very well, and just generally start easier from direct seeding. But they do germinate super easy, and to get going, a new batch of peas sprouting sure builds that confidence. To get started, sow them about 1/2 inch deep into some moist seeding soil, and at around 80 degrees Fahrenheit, they'll sprout in about a week. Our second crop is a big guy that most people prefer to direct seed, but I actually always start these guys early indoors, and that's zucchinis. Plant the biggie size seeds flat, about 1/2 inch deep, and give them lots of space and even more light. Zucchinis and squashes can be monster plants quickly, almost right out of the gate, so don't start them too early unless you've got a ton of space. At number 3, we've got another quick grower, and that's cucumbers. Again, not one that's suggested to be started early, often because of poor transplanting, but for me, I've got a short summer, and my cukes really appreciate the extra growing time. To give your cucumbers a head start, why not plant them in some biodegradable pots? That way, you can get around any transplanting issues. Our last 2 crops are the big daddies of starter plants, and the first of those are peppers. As the second most popular starter plant out there, peppers are almost never direct seeded outdoors. They come in a million different varieties, and they sprout super easy under warm conditions. Drop the heat, up the light, and increase that airflow once they get going, because you're going to want these guys healthy and bushy right away. And finally, we've got the world's #1 starter plant, and for good reason, tomatoes. Even if they're not your personal favorite, there's no mistaking that tomatoes are the #1 plant to buy or start yourself. These guys absolutely love to be repotted, so don't worry about starting them too early. Really, your only problem with tomatoes is going to be figuring out which awesome variety to try next. And while you're doing that, make sure to check out the next episode of the Garden Quickie. Thanks for watching, guys. And hey, if garden quickies are your thing, be sure to click on this playlist here as we explore and solve more growing issues in 2 minutes or less.